Cavity. After the nasal cavity, you also have air circulating through the sinuses. This whole region from here all the way down to here is your pharynx. We can divide the pharynx into 3 sections. The nasal pharynx on the top, just follow your nasal cavity back, you get to the nasal pharynx. The oral pharynx in the middle, take your oral cavity and follow it straight back. That gives you your oral pharynx. And on the bottom, your laryngopharynx. So this is your larynx, follow your larynx straight back, and that's your laryngopharynx.
The what?
Laryngopharynx. Okay. So again, nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. Now we get into our larynx. In your larynx, we need to find 3 things. We see the epiglottis, which is this blue structure right here. The epiglottis should shut like that when you swallow, so food comes down the esophagus and not into the windpipe. So that's your epiglottis. Up here in the front is your thyroid cartilage, and attached to your thyroid cartilage on the inside are your vocal folds. If we switch over to this one, we can see the thyroid cartilage more clearly. So that's the thyroid cartilage right there. Okay, let's continue going down the pathway with this model right here. So after you get past the larynx, you go into your trachea. This is your trachea. And your trachea extends all the way down here. The second your trachea splits, you enter your bronchi. So the first split is your primary bronchi. You have 1 primary bronchi going to the right and 1 primary bronchi going to the left. After your primary bronchi, the next split you see are your secondary bronchi. So notice you have 2 secondary bronchi going to the left. That's because you have 2 lobes of the lung on the left side. And if you go to the right, you'll notice 3 secondary bronchi, and that's because you have 3 lobes on the right. After you go past your secondary bronchi, you basically lose track, and then you have all these smaller branching. So these are now your tertiary bronchi. So the bronchi are within the lobes of the lung. So these are your lungs. So your lungs, you'll notice you have 3 lobes on the right and 2 lobes on the left. And then underneath, you have your diaphragm. So let's go ahead and look at everything one more time using this model. So with this model, we can take a look at the top. So you breathe air in through your nose, into the nasal cavity. You get air into your sinuses. Then you go down your pharynx, which can be divided into nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Next, you get to your larynx. In your larynx, you have your thyroid cartilage. After your larynx, you head down into your trachea, and you can follow your trachea all the way down to here. Your trachea splits into the bronchi. You have your primary bronchi, which split again into your secondary bronchi, and finally into your tertiary bronchi. Those bronchi are located in your lungs. You have your right lung and your left lung, and you can tell by counting the lobes. On the right side, you have 1, 2, 3 lobes. 1, 2, 3 lobes. And on your left side, you have 2 lobes. 1, 2, and 1, 2. And underneath your lungs, you have your diaphragm. So right here is going to be your diaphragm.